It's Mitsuhide. Playing Dark Souls 3, as always. It seems like it's the only game I play, but can't help it. I love it. But anyways, I was thinking, there's a character I have that I'm gonna do Game Plus with because there's a ring I want to get that I don't have on that character. And since I'm gonna start over, well, kind of start over with that character anyway, I figured let's go ahead and record it, and we'll make kind of like a little walkthrough series. A lot of people are actually getting into Dark Souls now, starting with Dark Souls 3, and you really don't want anyone to kind of get discouraged from playing the game because it can be difficult. So I figured, you know what, I'll make a little series, show people the ins and outs of the game, how to get through the areas and things like that. We'll do like kind of like a strategy guide or a let's play or whatever. So to start, I'm just gonna go ahead and go into new game real quick. Um,
Yes.
we're gonna skip the opening cinematic. If it's your first time playing, then go ahead and watch that. It's pretty cool. But I just wanted to go over some stuff really quick. Um, as far as creating a character, you got where you can set the appearance, the build, all that jazz. The most important part, though, is selecting your starting class. Um, this one here, we'll just go through all of them, starting from the bottom up. So this is a deprived class, which starts at level 1. So it's the most difficult to start out with, but it's the easiest to customize because it's just has basic stats across the board, just 10 all the way across, which is like usually the bare minimum for using any type of for using like certain like the opening level weapons and spells. 10 is usually what you need to start out with, so it's kind of bare bones. It's easy to customize, and because it starts at level 1, at the beginning it doesn't take as many souls to raise your attributes. Those For customization, it's a great one to start with, but like I said, if it's your first time playing, you may not want to pick this one. Here we have the cleric, which is spec mainly towards using miracles. There's two type of magics. One is spells, the other one's miracles. So this one's based more for using miracle only. It's like a caster type class. Um, Here we have the pyromancer, which is there's like a certain actually there's three types of spells. I should say pyromancy is all fire-based spells. The cool thing about this one, it does require some of the pyromancies require you to have a certain level of intelligence and or faith to use them. But as far as the strength of them, you actually level up your casting item, like you would any other sword. It's a pretty cool class to use as well, I think. Here's a sorcerer, which is self-explanatory. It's a spec. It's started out spec to be, based on intelligence and just pure casting. Casting is cool for playing the game. It's not that great if you're going to do player versus player, so just kind of keep that in mind. Here we have the assassin class, which is kind of like a hybrid class. It's a good one to start out with if you want to do like a combination of using melee attacks and sorceries. Like if you want to do like a mixture, kind of like a spell sword type thing. Um, the thief class we have here, it's kind of hard to start out with it also because it's not that strong physically, but it has like a really high dexterity to start with. So it's good if you want to do like a pure dexterity build. The herald is like the assassin, where it's a combination class. In this case, it's a combination of melee and faith, so kind of like a paladin type thing. So if you want to use miracles and be strong with melee attacks, I would recommend starting with this one. The assassin if you're going to do sorcery and melee together. The warrior is just pure strength. Like so you wouldn't it doesn't really have any dexterity at all. If you just want to be strong and use those big heavy strength based weapons, I think this is a good one to start out with. Um, then we have the mercenary, which is more like what's considered a quality build. I would use this one if you want to do a combination of, it's your other hybrid build. So if you want to do a combination of strength and dexterity, or it's also good for just doing pure dexterity too. But he has a higher strength than the thief does. and it starts with a dual wielding weapon. So that's another part that's cool about it. I tend to use this one if I'm doing a dexterity build rather than the thief because he's a bit stronger and he has better starting equipment. So it kind of makes the thief obsolete. But the thief, what's good about it is that it does have a higher intelligence than the mercenary. Well, actually, no, they're the same. I thought it had higher. I take that back. My bad. So yeah, I really don't see the point. Well, I guess the thief has more luck, so you'll get luckier. It'll get easier. It'll be easier to get drops. But me, I never saw the point in the thief because of this class. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me at all. It is what it is. And then we have the knight class, which this one is my personal favorite. The reason why I like it um, is because of it has good strength, not as good as the warrior, um, but it pretty good strength, pretty good dexterity. But what I like most about it is the vitality stat. Vitality is what allows you to carry, that determines how heavy your equipment can be, and still move fast. Um, on older Souls games, your armor, like the heavier your armor was, the like weaker your roll would be, like the harder it'd be for you to roll. And they kind of didn't spec the opening characters to be able to roll efficiently. So if you pick the knight in the older Souls game, he wouldn't be able to roll. You'd have to like take armor off to roll. But this one, they spec every character so that they can still do their rolls no matter what their starting equipment is. So that's one of the reasons why like to start with the knight, because since he's wearing the heaviest equipment out of all of them, you already have a pretty decent stat, for rolling. So when you want to change your character out, um, what you pick at the beginning isn't really all that important, because in the end, when you go to level yourself up, you're going to end up leveling how you want to play anyways. This is just, based on how you want to start the game out. And the game is definitely easiest starting with these three here, the first three, and then the hardest obviously is that one. Oddly enough, it actually, for the most part, is kind of in order from easiest to hardest, except for the pyromancer. I don't think if you were gonna rank them easiest to hardest, I wouldn't really put that one that far down. I would probably put it about here, where the thief is, because the pyromancy spells are actually really strong. The one he starts out with is pretty strong, so it's easier to kill things with that. So that's that. I'm not going to go through how you make your appearance and all that. I mean, you can fiddle around with that. I just wanted to kind of talk about the starting classes. So we're going to get out of here, and what I'm actually going to do is load the game that I want a new game plus with, because there's a ring I wanted to get that makes it so that when you do co-op, like when you do co-op in this game, you appear as a ghost in the other player's world, the player that summons you, and there's a ring that you can wear that makes you keep your character's appearance even when you go PvP. So I want this guy to have that ring, which is my Conan the Barbarian cosplay, so I look normal no matter what. So since I was going to start the game over anyway just to get that ring, let's go ahead and do it together. So we're just going to go start journey 2 so I can start all over. And how we'll do this is I'll go area by area, and we'll stop at the boss. I'll stop recording when we get to the boss fights, so that way you can kind of tackle the boss on your own, because that's really that's the real fun of the game, is fighting the bosses. However, I will upload a separate video for each area of me fighting the boss, so that way if you get stuck or can't figure out the trick to beating it or what have you, then you can just watch that other video of the boss fight. And get an idea or some type of strategy to base yourself on. Even if you watch someone else beat a boss, though, I mean, you still have to go through the act of fighting it yourself, so it doesn't really make it all that much easier, but it can help a little bit. So this is the starting area. It's the where you began the tutorial area. It is a cool looking area, to be honest with you. I kind of like it, but you rise from this grave here. Um, I mean, if you watch the opening story, you know why. Someone has to link the fire. The next lord refused to do so, so then the bell rang to wake up all the unkindled, which is what you are. And that way you can force the lords of Cinder to link the fire. So these messages here are your tutorial messages. Um, they teach you how to play the game, what the buttons are. So if it's your first playthrough, make sure you check those out. And so we're just going to go ahead. This will actually be... There is a boss at the end of the tutorial. I'll go ahead and fight that one. It's like the easiest boss anyway. There's not really much strategy to it. And then we'll go from here to the Firelink Shrine, which is your main hub. I'll explain the shrine, and then we'll stop there. And that's how we'll do it. We'll just go section by section. So this guy just got up quickly, didn't he? There is an item here, an Estus flask that you pick up from this guy. Since it's New Game Plus, I already got it, so it's not there, but make sure you pick that up, because the Estus flask is what you'll end up using to heal yourself. It's your only healing item. You have a limited use to it, and then every time you get to a checkpoint, which I'll show you in a bit, that's how you refill them. Going to the checkpoint actually also makes the enemies come back too, so just be wary of that. Now, this way is the way you want to go to continue to progress, but there is something back here I want to show you. You may or may not want to go here at the beginning, like I'm about to, because the enemy back here is pretty strong, but you get useful items for killing it. So, if you go to tackle it, it's that crystal thing back there, and if you go to tackle it and you find yourself not strong enough to be able to fight it, then just level up and come back later. So I'm gonna pull my shield out because it's necessary for this, and we're gonna go ahead and fight this guy. If you can get him to stagger like that, that's good, because then you can get your critical attack on. And because it's New Game Plus, I didn't have too much trouble with him. I mean, if you come here on New Game, you'll be fighting that thing for a while, but it's not that bad. Just make sure you have your shield, and just kind of keep your shield up and try to circle behind it. And hit it from the back, and once it gets that stagger, just run up to it and hit it as quick as you can. Now we're going to go back out this way. So yeah, a few items you can get back there, like that soul item. The lizard always drops something good. So let's go ahead and progress on. This view is immaculate. So that back there is where we're heading to, that bell tower back there. That's the Firelink Shrine. And here's the first bonfire. So you light it, and then once you light it, it becomes your checkpoint. So if you die, you start back right here. But let's say you use some of your flasks, fighting that guy, that lizard thing. If you rest at the bonfire, then see it refills, so you get your healing items back. It also refills your health itself when you do it, but all the enemies that you've already killed, they'll also come back. Like, just to show you, see, those guys are walking around again, even though I killed them because I rested at the bonfire. So risk versus reward thing, which that You'll see that a lot when it comes to Dark Souls. Take these guys out. With the when you first start the game, an actual new game, it usually takes about 2 or 3 hits to kill these guys normally, unless you're using the warrior. Like, he's so strong, and he has that big axe. He can actually kill him in 1 to 2 hits, just like a New Game Plus guy is doing. And another thing that's cool about using this character to do this with is that because he's barely wearing any clothing, his defense isn't all that high. So it'll be pretty challenging to get through the game than it normally would on my other character. I have another character that is actually wearing really heavy armor, and so he has a lot of defense. And even in New Game Plus, the enemies aren't that strong against him. Okay, so that's everybody. So here's the first boss, but it's just the tutorial, so this one we're just going to go ahead and fight him. So what you want to do, you remove this sword, and that's what wakes him up. We're going to end up going more or less that way, but the door doesn't open until you kill this guy, so you go ahead and remove the sword. And then you just want to immediately start hitting him, even before its life comes, because all these hits will actually count. See? And then he's gonna... You want to kind of keep your block up and try to circle him around him, like so. And most of the hits, a lot of the hits you'll either dodge, but in case you're not far away enough, keep that block up, so you'll block him. And then you just... Real simple, you just don't let up on him. And he'll more or less go down just like that. My dude's all dirty from... I wonder if resting to clean him up. Yeah, it does. Okay. And you'll always find that happens to you. After every boss fight, they'll put a fire right there, so you can get all your health and healing items back. We are almost there. Let's open these heavy ass doors. Okay. Oh, that was kind of useless. Broken straight sword. And there's some stuff. Yeah, there's an item over there. Let's go ahead and get that. He hit me good. Alright. Now that there is a really important item, the homework bone. What it does is it teleports you either to the central hub, which is the Firelink Shrine, or you can just go to the last checkpoint you rested at. And will actually come in handy a few times in the game, which you'll see when those parts come up. Let's go this way. That's where we're going to end up ending the video, is through there, but there's a few things you want to kind of grab when you're out here. So we'll do that. Stupid dog. So there's an ember there, and we want to come around this way. We're not going to go in there quite yet. Take these guys out so they don't surprise attack us later. And make our way up and over here. Now, there's a shield here, and that's a trap. So you don't want to grab that quite yet. You want to come over here and kill these guys first. I don't know why I can't hit this one. There we go. Because if you grab that shield first, before killing those guys, they'll wake up and ambush you. And you never really want to fight more than one person at a time. Now there's an enemy up here. It's the Sword Master. He is hard to kill. Like really, at the beginning of the game, he's really hard to kill. If you want to be brave and try to fight him, I suggest going in the shrine first and using the bonfire in there before fighting him, so that way, you know, you can quickly get back to him versus walking from back there all the way over here each time you want to fight him. You'll want to have a shield when you do, because he's really fast and you don't want to get cut a lot. And it's easiest if you have, like if you're starting with either the sorcerer or the pyromancer. The sorcerer, pyromancer, and the warrior, I find, are the easiest to defeat him with. I mean, he can be beat with all the other classes. It's going to take a little more skill and finesse. Like I said, I highly suggest, if it's your first playthrough, to just go ahead and wait until you're a bit stronger. Oh my god. See, it's because he's so fast. You kind of want to get him to do his move and then hit him if you can after he does it. You don't want to hit him while he's doing that, because then he'll do this parry thing on you. But once you catch him, since he doesn't have any clothes on, he'll get stunned with every attack. So that's kind of how you want to do it. Unless he moves out the way. There we go. And then you get his equipment for doing that. It is a good way for getting a katana at the very beginning of the game. But that's like I said, it's another one of those things, risk versus reward. Like if you think it's worth that risk. There is one benefit to killing him early if you can, aside from getting his equipment. Did I already pick this up? No, I didn't. Okay. It's another homework bone. Aside from getting his equipment, I'll show you that in the next area. There's also another added benefit to taking him out right there, which we'll see later. So now we want to go back into the shrine. And this is where everything happens for the most part. We'll go through it. I probably won't be, this area won't be in the videos too much, because there's nothing to do. Like, there's no enemies to fight or anything. It's kind of like the town where you do your shopping and all that stuff. So this here is the Firekeeper, and she's how you level up. You talk to her to level up, and the you know, you can increase your whatever stat you're gonna increase, you know, based on how you want to build your guy up. Now, I'll let you know right now, the game is easiest to play if you focus on strength or dexterity. It's easiest if strength is focused on. Dexterity, it's a little harder, but still easier than trying to build your guy based on intelligence and faith. And the reason why is because these are what determine your, you know, your actual, for most of the weapons, they determine how strong they are, or how hard you hit with them, depending on which weapon you got. And so fighting in melee combat is always easiest when it comes to these kind of games. You know, to all the Souls games, because you don't have to worry about, you know, having a certain amount of of magic points or anything like that. It's just all it's all you're just hitting them with your weapon. That's always the easiest thing to do. So that sword we pulled out, you want to go ahead and put it there to create the bonfire for this place. And then we'll just kind of go through the shrine really quick so you'll be familiar with it. So she'll always be near the fire, and that's where you'll level up. She'll be in different places, like sometimes sitting on the stairs or whatever, but you always find her down here. This guy is just a guy who, he's kind of like you. He's like an unkindled guy who was on his own quest and just, I guess he kind of gave up and just sits there. But you'll want to make sure you talk to all these people you find. Later on when you come here, just make sure every time you come to look around because there'll be people. Like there'll be a guy that's standing here at some point, and you'll want to talk to him. The first time you talk to him, he'll give you a PvP item, and then after you defeat another boss or just leave and come back, the next time he'll give you a key that you'll need to open a door later in the game, and I'll show you that when we get to that area. These thrones, each time you defeat one of the main bosses of the game, you get an item that you have to put on the thrones, and that's really the objective of the game, is to kill each of the bosses that the thrones belong to and put their item on their respective throne. This guy is already on the throne. You talk to him, and then at some point you'll get an item that you have to give to him. When we pick it up in the video, I'll let you know it's the item. And what he'll do is he'll turn souls, like the special souls, into weapons, into either weapons, items, or spells that you can use. So he becomes a merchant later. Here's like your main merchant here. Like she sells the little items and stuff you'll need. One of the most important things you'll want to get is the torch. That's going to come in handy for 2 areas in the game, so make sure you use your souls to get that when you can. These will come in handy at 1.2 in the game, so that's another thing you'll want to grab from her. I actually only have 3, so let me go ahead and get the 6 she has now. I'm going to need them later. Homeward bones will come in handy as well. This will is what you use to do co-op, so you'll want to get that at some point. It's not really needed to complete the game, but it's something you'll want to have if you're going to do online play. You're definitely going to need this later. It costs 20,000, so it'll be a little bit before you buy it, but as soon as you get the chance, make sure you pick that up, and I'll show you why. I'm going to go ahead and grab it now since I have the souls for it. And is there anything else that's all you really need from her. She sells arrows. Actually, I'm gonna need those. That's the other thing you'll want to get that's important, is arrows. You find a bow really quickly, and you'll want to get that. This guy's important because he's the guy that'll reinforce your weapon. So when you reinforce your weapon, it's exactly like it sounds. You make it stronger. So each time you can level up the normal weapons up to level 10. That's the max level for them. The special weapons like this one, they go up to 5. And then if you look at the attributes at the bottom, where it says attribute bonus, you see where it has the physical attack. Like that first number is the base attack, and then the plus whatever it says there is how much of a bonus you get based on your character's build. So that first one that looks like an arm flexing, that's your stat for strength. So the higher that letter grade is, the more bonus you'll get for your strength stat. So that one's a C, and I think the highest there'll be is S. I haven't found one that's S yet, but I know in the previous games S is the highest it'll be. The second one is dexterity. So if there's a grade there, then it'll give you a bonus based on your dexterity stat, and the higher the grade, the more bonus you get. The book is intelligence, and then that little shooting star looking thing. I don't know what that is, if it's a shooting star or a magic wand, whatever that is, that one's your faith stat. So make sure your weapons actually match your grade too, like whatever weapon you're going to use. So that way, building up your character will have an impact on the weapons they use. You can kind of, there's no one down here, but you kind of tell where they're going to go. So at some point, we'll find a merchant that'll move to the shrine and go here, and she'll sell you, like the dark magics. We'll find a guy that goes here who will sell you sorceries. We'll find someone that goes here that'll do pyromancy. Over this way, we'll end up finding a person that'll end up living here, and she'll do your miracles. And when we find each person in the actual game world, I'll let you know who they are and what merchant they'll become in the shrine, so that way you'll know where to go to get your stuff. Here will be another shop for just basic items, kind of like the old lady that's up there. You'll find him and he'll go here, and he'll sell kind of the same thing. His prices are better, and he'll have difference. Like, she sells wooden arrows where he will sell the regular items, the regular arrows. Here, a side quest character will go, which is actually the side quest character I need to get the ring I wanted, which is the reason why I'm playing this right now anyways. And then the second part, there will be another character that'll go here, around here. That's a part of that quest I gotta do to get that ring. So when we get there, I'll explain who they are, and they'll go here. And then there's one other thing in Firelink that I want to show you. I went the wrong way. Sorry about that. So up here is where you'll want to go. Let me go ahead and pick. You can actually go here and pick this up now if you want, but this cage is locked here, and that key that costs 20,000 souls is what you'll need to open this up. So let's go ahead and use it. So that way you'll have the full tour of this area. So nothing that way, but you're going to end up going across here first. And you'll want to try to do this as early as you can. There's a reason for that, which I'll explain later when we get to it. But it's less of a hassle if you go ahead and get this stuff now. Or, as early as you can. So here's the Firekeeper's soul. You'll want to grab that. And that's Firekeeper's soul. You'll obviously give it to the Firekeeper. And that'll kind of sort of help you with a side quest later. So once you do that, another thing you're going to want to do is at some point you'll want to jump from this platform to that coffin right there, if you can see it, and then just make your way from coffin to coffin, going down to the bottom. So that way you can unlock a door. The door at the very bottom will lead you to where that guy with the samurai sword was. So at some point you're gonna, if you hadn't fought him before doing this, before going down that way, then you're definitely gonna have to fight him there, because he's standing right in front of that door. Because it'll take you down to there, to where that door is. and that's where he's standing at, so you're gonna have to fight him at that point. There's gonna be no getting around it. So you want to kick that down. It's a shortcut to get back up here. But there is something really important here that you want to get. That's not it, but those are pretty important. But here we go. So now we're back inside the shrine, but we're up in the rafters. Here, if you drop an item, like a weapon or an item, if that voice that you heard talk, if it likes it, it'll trade you it for another item. So that's kind of important. Now that what I picked up is what you really want to get from up here. It was an Estus flash shard, and those are used. That's not what I wanted. Those shards are used to increase the number of Estus flasks that you can carry. So you definitely want to get those. And then what I just did there, when you go this way, there's a wall there, and if you either hit it or roll into it, it'll go away. And down there will be a treasure chest with a ring that'll increase the amount of souls that you'll get, each time you kill an enemy. So that's another good thing to have. I'm not going to go down there and grab it because I already have it. So what I'm going to do is just go back this way. And we're going to go up this ladder here so I can show you something else, because there's a lot of cool stuff to grab through here. So another thing you'll want to do is drop here and come around, go around that building that way, and there'll be that thing, which is it's a crystal lizard. As a matter of fact, I wonder if I'm strong enough to kill it from here. Let's see. Let's see if I am. Oh, I think I am, if I can catch it. Oh, he's too fast. But yeah, you want to walk down there and kill it, and then there'll be an item you can pick up there. But what we really want to do, let's go back up the tower. Because you'll want to open that door that's at the bottom too. So let's go through here. And like I say, you want to jump off of this platform and land on that coffin right there. And hopefully I make the jump and don't die, or that would be pretty embarrassing. So. Oh. Did it. Let's drink something, because the rest of these falls might hurt. And then from here, we want to try to get you see that little, it's like a little flashing, a little shiny thing that's an item. You want to wedge yourself, grab that up. And that is a really cool ring for when you first start the game, because what it'll do is make it so that your flask will heal more. So it makes your healing item stronger, which is a good thing to have. And that right there is everything in Firelink Shrine. Like I said, there's a reason why you'll want to do that as early as you possibly can. Obviously, when you first start the game, you wouldn't be able to, because the key to get up there costs like 20,000. But just whenever you get a chance, buy that key and go up there to get those items as soon as you possibly can, as soon as you feel comfortable doing it. So that's it for this part. In order to get to the next area, you'll want to go ahead and rest at this bonfire. and you'll hit travel, and it'll be the only place you can travel to because this is where you've already been. That's where you fought the tutorial boss. That's where that's the first bonfire you rested at, and then that's where you are now. So here is where you'll end up going. So let's go ahead. Actually, let's go ahead and go there. We'll get past the loading screens here. And then here we are, is the start of the game. This is where the real game starts. So that's it. Welcome to Dark Souls. We'll pick up right here on the next video, and then we'll work from here. I'll show you all the different areas. This area is not that big, but there's a lot of different twists and turns to it, which can cause you to just go around in circles. So I'll show you how to get through that, and then we'll stop at the boss. I'll record a separate video fighting the boss, and then that's how we'll go through it. I'm not going to do the boss in the actual walkthrough guide section to give you, like, if this is your first time playing, it'll let you see and fight the boss on your own, because like I said, that's really the best, funnest part of playing Dark Souls, fighting those bosses, and that's where the real challenge comes in. So, but I will record them separately, so like I said, if you're really that stuck on them, you can watch me fight them, and then maybe get an idea of what you can do to stop, him and her, wherever the boss is. So I appreciate you coming out and watching the first video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.